Hey everyone, it's Ken from Kentastic Cakes and a Taste of Home Cake Crate. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some baking. We're going to be making my awesome super chocolatey chocolate cupcakes. Super easy to make. Before we get started, I would love for you to hit subscribe if you haven't already done so, as well as like this video, share it with your friends. So again, this is a super easy recipe. It's what I use for all my chocolate cupcakes, my chocolate cakes. It's the same. And we're going to go through. I'm going to tell you what I got, how much of it, and all the steps and the recipe itself. I'm actually going to put down in the description, which I don't generally give out my recipes, but for this I'm going to do it. And possibly in the future I'll do others as well. But let's get started. So we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 2 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. We have a mixture here of salt, baking soda, and baking powder. There's 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoon baking powder, all just mixed in there together. We have a cup and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder here. All the way over here we have 3/4 cup of water mixed with a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We have 5 large eggs. And then in the measuring cup, we have equal parts of vegetable oil and water. There's 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of each. And that's it for ingredients for this recipe. So we've got our mixing bowl here. So we're going to start by adding the flour and the sugar, the cocoa, and then the salt, baking powder, and baking soda is all going to go in. Now, you don't have to do this, but I like to just take a whisk and just mix it all up together before I throw it on the actual mixer. I think it makes it a little easier, it's a little faster. And let's try to let you see that a bit. So you mix it all in there. Doesn't have to be completely mixed, but it's good. All right. So now, I'm going to throw that on the mixer. Lock it into place. Got my whisk attachment here. And we'll lift that up. And I'll actually turn it on and let it mix for, just a minute or so, just to, mix it up some more. You can do this from the beginning. I just put it on the stir, which is the first thing. If you want to take the time to do it, you can just mix it from the beginning that way. You don't have to use the whisk. I just find it easier to do that. So while it's mixing, I'm going to take the oil and water, and I'm just going to pour it in. And let that mix for a bit. Now, initially, while this mixes, as it incorporates all the flour and the cocoa and all that stuff with the water and oil, it's going to be very thick. It's not going to be batter-like at all. It's going to be very fudgy and thick. Pump it up a little bit more. And while that's mixing for a couple minutes, I'm just going to beat my eggs here. And the reason I beat my eggs first is it makes it incorporate with the batter a lot easier. Some people may put in like 1 egg at a time, mix it in, and then another egg. It takes too long. If you just beat it all up now, it allows it to mix a lot faster. Now I'm going to add my water and my vanilla to the egg mixture. Give that a quick little mix. Spilled a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this for a second. I'm going to take this off. So as you can see, it's very fudgy, like that, which is perfect. I'm going to throw it back on here. I'm gonna take my spatula, I'm just gonna give it a quick scrape down. And at this stage, unlike regular batter, after you do that, it barely sticks to the spatula. But you wanna get underneath it all the way to the bottom of the mixing bowl, because it's so thick, it will stick to the bottom even when you add this egg mixture in. So you wanna help it out a bit. So now, we're gonna put this back on stir, or the lowest setting. And I'm just gonna dump the water in. Gotta do it slow. Normally I use it, normally I would use a spouted type of mixing bowl to help it from doing what it was just doing. But for this, I want you to be able to see it a little bit better. And now we're gonna lift this up. And that's gonna mix for a couple minutes. And once the egg mixture starts to get incorporated, you can increase the speed. If you increase the speed now, it's gonna throw it everywhere. So now I'll just start bumping it up a little bit. Eventually we're gonna get to the high setting. Now at this point, I'm going to show you this again. The batter is certainly starting to come together. So you can see it's much more batter-like. But what I'm going to do, because remember how I said the mix, it kind of adheres to the bottom, so you really want to go underneath it and scrape up and all around the sides to loosen that fudgy pre-batter, I guess we could call it. Scrape this off. And by doing that, when we turn it back on, now it'll take all that stuff we just loosened up and it'll incorporate it into the batter properly. So throw it back on here. Lock into place. And we can pretty much put it right up onto high. So we're gonna let that mix for about 2 minutes. And we'll come back in a second and I'll show you the finished batter, and then we're gonna start putting it into our cupcake pans. Okay, so we're back. Here is the finished batter. It's nice and loose. Air bubbles is not a problem. That's gonna happen with anything. So we're ready to put it into our cupcake pan. Best way to do that, at least for me certainly, is to use an ice cream scoop. This is a 4 ounce, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a 4 ounce scoop. I'm trying to see if it's on here somewhere, which it is not, but I am pretty sure it is a 4 ounce ice cream scoop. So just scrape it off on the side a little bit because it's gonna be drippy. And then right into the cupcake liner. You only want to fill it half to 3/4 of the way, otherwise you run the risk of it overflowing when it rises. And the more you do it, the better hang of it you get. You want them to all be as even as possible. Usually, if you fill the scoop up to the top, that's pretty much gonna fill your cupcake thing, your cupcake liner 3/4 of the way. And then as soon as I finish this, it's going to go into a 350-degree oven for 18 minutes, at least on my oven. I would recommend maybe starting it at 15 or 16 minutes, and then testing it and seeing if it's done. Like any other cake, just take a toothpick or something of that nature and stick it in one of the cupcakes to see if it comes out clean. If it comes out clean, it is done. Keep in mind that not only are all ovens different and the way they hold temperature, but also the front of the oven may be hotter than the back of the oven. So you want to actually test a few of the cupcakes, because the ones in the front may be done, and the ones in the back might still need a little bit more time. In which case, I would recommend just spinning it in the oven, and then let it cook for another couple minutes. So we're gonna finish filling these, get them in the oven, and then we'll be back to show you the finished product. Okay, so we are back with the finished cupcakes. These baked, as I said before, at 350 degrees for 18 minutes. They're perfectly cooked. You wanna take them out of the oven, let them cool in the cupcake pan for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then once you can sort of touch the pan without gloves, you can just take them out and cool them completely on the cooling rack. And cupcakes only generally take maybe 10 or 15 minutes excuse me, to cool completely to the point where you could justifiably frost them without worrying about the frosting melting, depending on what kind of frosting you're using. So that would be fine. Now, here's a dozen that I made, but actually the batch that I showed you how to make actually yields about 30 or so cupcakes, which is quite a few. So if you don't need that many cupcakes, obviously you can cut the recipe in half, or you can make the cupcakes that you need, and then the rest of the batter you could bake it in a pan and freeze it. Because that batch I also use that for my cakes, so that makes a couple 8-inch round cakes, or 3 6-inch plus a little bit extra. So depending what you're using it for, it does actually cover quite a bit. So that's what they look like. Now you can frost it with anything you'd like. You could use regular canned frosting from the supermarket. If you make your own frosting, of course, you could. I use my own buttercream, obviously, that I make from scratch, which I'm going to post in the near future how I make my buttercream. You could dip it if you make like a chocolate ganache, which I actually have a video here on my channel of how I make my chocolate ganache. You could dip it and then just let it set, and that's really yummy. It gives you kind of like a double fudge sort of thing. But yeah, so that's my chocolate cupcake. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave a comment below. Is this something that you would make? Did you find it easy? Do you think you'd like it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, as I said in the beginning, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Please like this video. This video right here is one of my most recent videos, so you can check that out. And this one right here is a video from one of my YouTubers that so generously unboxes my A Taste of Home cake crate each month. So check them out, subscribe to them as well. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more videos, and just know that I appreciate you guys.